you need to understand what lateral movement actually looks like. And I think this is a useful exercise to go through because I know when I first started out in security, I didn't really have any good concept about what hackers looked like when they actually moved around in the environment. So what we're looking at here is just a series of Windows computers in your environment, and they have credentials stored on them from anybody who's ever interactively logged in. And Windows just does this as part of its features. And so we can expect credentials to be on computers after we've logged on to them. Should you actually get a computer compromised, there's going to be some process that we're running on there that you can basically just call malware. And this thing's going to want to escalate privileges until it can get to the highest level of administration that it can do on an endpoint. And what this thing's going to do is it's actually going to communicate outwards through a command and control server, usually over one of these protocols. And I put question marks there because in some cases they can also use custom protocols to get out. Now, the first command they're probably going to get after they've attained system is to actually extract the credentials that they have there, begin looking around the environment to see what else is around, and then moving laterally. And this process is probably not going to want to expose itself as the malware. So there's a good chance it's going to launch an additional process that is going to take care of that remote session. And that process may or may not be in the context of a user. It may also be system or anything else that malware can get a hold of. However, in that type 3 logon, it is in fact going to have to impersonate an Active Directory user. And the process that it spawns on the remote computer is going to initially run within the context of a user and then reach out to its command and control server. Once it does that, it's going to drop this connection and attempt to elevate to system again. And this essentially gives the intruder 2 persistence points in the environment. They're both reaching back to the same C2 infrastructure. This doesn't necessarily always have to be the case. Obviously we have computers that don't have internet access. And so in those cases, it can use the same lateral movement over to the next host, but instead establish a connection back to the pivot point. This could be a named pipe. It could be simply like UDP connection. There's an infinite number of ways that it can go here. Just know that it doesn't necessarily have to be persistent chained connections going across. It could be going to a C2 server, but it could also just mix it up. And you're going to see a lot of different use cases here.